Today I'm going to show you how to make a sheet metal overstrike collar for your axe or maul. So our project today is to build a steel collar around this Husqvarna splitting axe. See, what happens with, especially with splitting tools, is this wood gets really beat up. And man, that's so heartbreaking when you spend all day building a handle and you can be as careful as you want. And one mistake, you can overstrike. And overstrike is when you stand too close to the wood and you miss with the blade and you hit with the handle. It can crack and chip the handle. It could even break the head off. So this isn't going to prevent that, but it is going to prevent this from receiving wear. So you can see here some perfect examples right here on my small forest axe. This is all beat up on the back. You can see that. Now I have sanded a lot of that, but this is from overstriking wedges and hitting wedges, and that's what destroys the handle. Here on my splitting maul, there's another perfect example. Spend all day building a custom handle like this and pounding a wedge and miss and hit the wedge on the handle, and there you have essentially ruined a handle with just one mistake. So Grand Force Brooks, I notice, on their striking tools, their splitting mauls and splitting axes, are putting a steel collar around this to protect that, and I think it's a wonderful idea. The difference is that they're putting theirs on, the best I can tell, before they hang the head, and so they can kind of shape it around the eye and then slide it down, and the handle's actually kind of designed to receive that. This is kind of a retrofit, and it's going to be a little bit different. So the question that we have to make, or the decision we have to make, is to wrap it all the way around and secure it somehow with probably a welding it, or just bring it around like a clamshell, where it just goes around and somehow pin it through and secure it. This is the R&D process of building this, so mistakes will be made, and I'm just bringing you along for the process. So what I'm starting out with is I've got a piece of sheet metal here. You can buy this at your True Value, any hardware store. You're going to pay a premium for it because you're not going to the supplier, but it's not that much money. It's 22 gauge, it's 12 inches by 24 inches, and that's what we're going to use. So we'll cut out a section, wrap it around, and start forming this and see if we can't build a collar. So what I'm thinking, there's no two going to be alike because of the shape of these handles are all different. So what we'll probably end up doing is having something that goes down like this up to the point where this starts to radius. We don't want to go too far because that sheet metal is not going to bend that well. And then I want to cut it and trim it. I want to make it look really nice and fit around here on the cheek. But let's get started, get our measurements, and we'll see how it goes. Some of the tools that we're going to need to do this job are going to be, this is an essential set of tools, tin snips. Tin snips are not expensive. You can buy the Wisp brand. They're really good at Home Depot. They come in 3 different configurations primarily for the average guy. The yellow handles are for cutting straight. The red handles are for cutting a left-handed turn, and the green handles are for cutting a right-hand turn, the radius. So we'll be using all of these, standard ruler. This is nice because we can bend it around. It's a little bit flexible and get accurate measurements, and then our squares. But I think we should be able to do the job pretty much with what we have laid out here. So I'm going to use my speed square here, and we're going to have the back side of it come just before that drops into that swell there. And I've kind of laid it out here. I think this is about what I want. And so I've got this marked here. So the sheet metal will come down and it'll come around to this point a little bit longer on the front. It's pretty flat right here, so this is pretty straightforward. So that's what we're going to use for our template then. So we got to determine the depth of our collar, and we can see we're much higher up here on the front. So I'm going to square across here. So it needs to fit up. I want it to fit up tight against the head there, like this. So it needs to be, we'll say 1 inch. 1 inch will do it. And then from here we can taper up to, let's go 3. So we'll go from 1 inch to 3 inches here. So to determine our overall length, we'll cut a little bit big. We can always trim it back down, but I'd say somewhere in here. Well, let's go full length just in case we decide to wrap it all the way around. We'll kind of see how it goes. So if I started right here, where that would need to come up, right in the center. Okay, and roll carefully. Roll this around. That comes out to about 3 inches there. Yeah, I think so. We'll go. We'll go 6 1/8 for a rough cut. So we'll use our combo square here, and we'll mark our 3 inches. And our 6 1/8. I think 6 would do it, but we'll give ourselves a little bit of wiggle room there. Okay, we're going to use our straight tin snips, our yellow handled, and very carefully, take your time, we're going to cut right on that line. I've never really worked with sheet metal much. Do you know what they call sheet metal workers? Like guys that do it full time in the trades, they call them tin knockers. It's kind of what we always called them. Because when you're working on the building houses and things, you always hear them in there pounding on tin. Back in the old times, men who worked with metal and fixed pots and pans, whatever, all the little things that needed to be repaired, I believe they called them tinkers. Maybe you guys in England, maybe you still call them tinkers, I don't know. Man has been working with steel and like this little fiddly stuff for a long time. Not much has changed. So we can put this on a flat surface and straighten out a little bit. I'm going to use a soft hammer. This is if you hear that? A shot-filled hammer. It's got shot inside of it, so when you hit, even though it's soft, it doesn't bounce on you. That shot follows up and keeps the head down. We don't want to stretch the metal, because pounding on this, it will definitely stretch and deform it. So the soft hammer will not do that. So we want to determine the center line of this, which is should be 3 1/16. Double check it there. Looks good. And we'll mark that on both sides so we know exactly where the break or the bend needs to be. So I changed my mind a bit on that back side. Instead of going with 1 inch, I decided to go with 1 inch and 3/8. So we'll take our nippers here and carefully cut this out again. So it seems to me we have pretty good proportions here. You can kind of see we're just starting to take shape. So there's our center line, and you can just starting to get the overall shape of this here. Tricky part's going to be to figure out how to get this contour in here. This would be really simple and clean to do if the head wasn't on. We don't have that luxury, but we'll figure something out. I mean, yeah, we could just sit it right on there, but that's not proper. I want it to look like someone made it who cared. Well, I guess it's bending time. All right, so we've got our center line marked. So it seems to me if we use the method that they use for log cabin building, that might be a real good solution for this. How they do it is they'll take a compass like this here and set it at the widest portion of the gap. and then follow the contour of the axe head and get that perfect shape. We'll test this out on a piece of paper first. So if we take and cut that out, just curious to see if this is going to be the method that we're going to use. Just roughly there. Does that work?
The compass does indeed work. That is the trick for following that contour. So, sorry to say there's going to be a second part to this. It was a pretty detailed process, but I'll have that up for you ASAP. But in the meantime, I'm not leaving you high and dry. I've got some videos for you. The top left video is a day of Mrs. Wranglerstar and I working on the homestead, and I titled it, "This is Reality," and it's one of my favorite videos. I always say that, don't I? Bottom, top right. Top right is a proper woodcutter's kit. Maybe not a proper woodcutter's kit, but at least the stuff that I use. And it's not the definitive answer or the end-all kit, it's just some things to consider. Bottom left is restoring and rebuilding a very special shovel. Yep, there's a difference. Not all shovels are created equal. An FSS Forest Service shovel. And the bottom right is resurfacing or doing a repair on an anvil that has rolled or broken edges. You can repair them. It's not as good as new, but it will get you by in a pinch. So thanks for watching, and don't forget to click the thumbs up if you enjoy these videos. We really appreciate that, and we'll see you guys on part 2.